Hey everyone, and welcome to Real Life Real Crime Daily for Friday, March 17th, 2023. And I'm Jim Chapman.
And I'm Mike Agavino. And those of you who are loyal listeners out there know I never go second in the intros. But we are once again in missing man formation this morning. And I have to tell you, it's kind of nauseating. Driving up here, it's like when Ferris Bueller got sick. And you know how they changed the water tower to save Ferris? It's like save Woody up here where, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he's got a little fever. You would have thought all those years in law enforcement, his skin would be a little thicker, but he's legitimately sick. We know he's legitimately sick, but there's just a little bit too much of this save Woody stuff going on. And so to overcome the loss of our leader, we have chosen a very special guest this morning.
Reinforcements have arrived.
In the female variety of reinforcements.
Yes. So introduce yourself, special guest.
I am here to save Woody from the man cold. And I am Kelly Jennings. Hey, everybody. How are y'all doing?
Kelly's here.
KJ in the flesh.
Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
We are excited to have you.
I mean, I have big shoes to fill, but I'm here.
Yes, you do.
And I'm going to try my best.
They're small shoes, but it's a big mouth.
There we go.
And we're confident you can fill the big. You can fill the big mouth.
There you go.
Let's start off with the story that's dominating the news cycle over the last 48 hours, which is the story about two Russian fighter jets playing around, toying with, harassing, whatever you'd want to call it, a U.S. military drone in international waters, international airspace above the Black Sea. And the game of chicken or whatever game was being played by the Russians ended badly because one of their planes, one of their Su-27 aircraft, struck the propeller of one of our $32 million unmanned MQ-9 Reaper drones. And our military were forced to bring that drone down following the collision because they couldn't operate it properly afterward. It's important to understand what the utility of these drones are, what service they provide, and we're flying them in that area because we're using them to provide intel that we share back with Ukrainian forces as to the location of Russian forces. And so they have been providing important intel throughout the war between Russia and Ukraine back to the Ukrainian army. And so this is a pretty provocative event. I think most of the experts weighing in on it are sort of leaning toward the Russian pilots got a little too cute. They were supposed to probably do what they did with dumping fuel onto the drone, which prevented the cameras from operating properly. That was probably the purpose of what they were doing, but they got a little bit too close and hit the propeller, and then you know where the story goes after that. So we've been now listening for a 24-hour plus cycle to folks weighing in from all sides. A video was just released hours ago it's kind of hard to draw that much from the video, but I think it supports the line of thinking I just shared with you, that it was two pilots who were harassing this drone that got a little too cute, maybe a little bit irresponsible, and or maybe a lot of it irresponsible, and ended up clipping the thing. So our U.S. Air Force General James Hecker weighed in on this thing and said our MQ aircraft was conducting routine operations in international airspace when it was intercepted and hit by a Russian aircraft, resulting in a crash and complete loss of the MQ-9. In fact, this unsafe and unprofessional act by the Russians nearly caused both aircraft to crash. This word, unprofessional, I mean,
that made me laugh.
I don't think I've ever heard it used in this kind of a context. Country versus country. It's the kind of thing you say to the worker that you just got an HR complaint about,
Right.
and you bring him into your office, and Kelly says that you've said some inappropriate things around the lunch table. That's really unprofessional, and but you have this synchronization between whether it's our spokespeople for the government, people in the military, everyone who has weighed in on this has used the word unprofessional here, which means it's a coordinated talking point between all of these people. They're supposed to say unprofessional, which doesn't convey to me. It doesn't convey doesn't convey a lot of strength.
Right. And I want to your point, the word unprofessional is not what happens in war. We don't have unprofessional in war. We have rules of war, but we don't have unprofessional in war. And in my humble opinion, right, I think that the American people are probably going to get tired of hearing things like unprofessional, like let's cut through it, tell us what's going on as much as you can within, the scope of, not telling us too much as far as national security goes, but come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Unprofessional.
Yeah, that made me laugh when I read that. And look, I look at this situation, and in some ways it's a little bit funny when you really unpack it. The drone was obviously Ukraine and Russia are in a war right now, and this drone was giving information to the enemy. So from Russia's standpoint, and look, I'm no Russia defender, but from Russia's standpoint, I mean, I don't think anybody would have avoided taking that drone down if.
Well, it was in international airspace. It wasn't in Russian airspace.
You know where it's going. It's getting information for the enemy. Would the United States have shot that down if it would have been in reverse, that situation?
No way.
You don't think?
No.
Tom Cruise would have went up there and
you can't.
He would have been inverted.
Tom Cruise. He would have certainly been inverted, and he would have certainly shot them the bird. But
something to that too that was interesting to me, just because we're in Louisiana, right? Was recently we had a situation that was just glazed over a little bit. It seems like people didn't pay much attention to it, but we had two guys that were from Brooklyn, New York, right here in Louisiana, and they were arrested and charged for flying a drone over 3 of our chemical plants in Louisiana. Now, this is what really caught my attention. Their names were Vladimir Dorogobid and Tigran Avestian.
Yeah, they're not from Brobridge.
No, they're not from Brobridge. We Boudreaux and Thibodeaux, and if it was Vladimir, Thibodeau, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
But I just found that really interesting. So then, inside that vehicle, they found one of the guys had on goggles, kind of like controlling it like, virtual reality style. And they were asked to land the drone, which they did. They complied and they landed the drone. But what was even more interesting to me was that when the detectives were questioning them, those men refused to show them the drone and refused to answer any questions about what was going on. So, and then they tried to hide their drone in a field. So if there was nothing to this, I find that kind of weird that you would go hide it. I understand if you don't, you have the right to remain silent, fine, do it. But why are you hiding?
Yeah, but if you're not doing anything wrong, why exercise the right?
And so, they said they're working with the FBI on this case. They're trying to confiscate the drone and the cell phone and all that. But wow, isn't that interesting to fly over Dow Chemical? And then, they're trying to claim, they bonded out. And they're trying to claim later on, I saw an update saying, we were trying to get footage for a movie. That dog does not hunt for me.
Yeah, that's
not much for Russian films.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I don't think Vlad is a native of Sheepshead Bay, at least my last check on Brooklyn. But, look, there's been a number of things that have gone on. We haven't talked about the Chinese balloon in a few weeks, but there are a few stories that have come out that reference the potential use of a balloon type of delivery system for an EMP attack. And if you've ever read anything about EMP attacks or you haven't, go ahead and Google EMP attack, electromagnetic pulse, and an electromagnetic pulse of a certain size delivered at a certain altitude could wipe out everything electronic within a very wide geography.
And to our younger listeners who might be out there, we know this from Call of Duty because you can drop an EMP.
Right.
It's one of your rewards, then it knocks out all your communication.
Wow. So,
they're learning early.
Look, it just shows there's more sensitivity right now to what's going on across the world than there has been in, most of our lifetimes.
Mm-hmm.
Look, and I'll say this, people 40 years ago, 60 years ago, there was not this technology. You didn't have drones. You didn't have balloons. Well, you had balloons, but they weren't flying them over other countries like they do now. The issue with so much technology that we have nowadays is it makes spying almost easy. Back in the day, you had to be the guy with the attaché case and, you spoke 2 different languages and you had 9 passports in your wallet and all of those sorts of things. Now, it doesn't even require a human being, really. You could just shoot a drone anywhere you want. And if you can get away with it, you get away with it. So it's a different world. Spying is done on all levels throughout all countries. Sometimes it's innocent. You just you're nosy and you want to see what's going on. And then other times it's to Mike's point that maybe you're planning to do something at some point.
And to not be an alarmist, but I'm a school teacher for listeners who don't know, and our students, right? I teach high school students. They are grossly underestimating what is capable in this world. We live in this bubble of, we have a good life, and we go to school, and our biggest complaint is we lost the football game on Friday, and maybe we don't have enough money. But when you look at the big scale of things, I don't want to be an alarmist, but there's a lot more at stake here. And I think that the American people better open their eyes and better wake up to the realities because the home front is at stake.
Let me ask you a question. I remember elementary school, and I'm older than you guys. So elementary school for me was 1970s, early to mid 1970s. And we regularly had drills for air raid, where, we're taking every kid out of every class. You're lined up against the walls. You have your hands above your head in a braced position, and you're curled up. Anything like that mandatory in schools these days?
We've moved on to active shooter.
Okay, right.
That's what we're really doing is we're trying to fortify the school, if you will, from an active shooter. That's, the air raid thing I think is kind of lost. But, when I was in New York this past summer, I was kind of stunned that on the radio and on, media that you would see out there, they were talking about nuclear how to protect yourself from a nuclear exposure.
Good luck with
and I'm
that.
like, good Lord have mercy, duct tape your doors, keep your doors shut, close your windows, wait for the fallout. I'm like, my God.
Well,
that's crazy.
It is scary out there. And I think what bothers me about this incident is our response to it, which is more or less, we've decided it was accidental. We decided it was unprofessional. We sort of threw forgiveness out there in our opening statements before really even assessing what actually happened here. And the Russian response has not been one of contrition. It has not been one anywhere near as sort of pacifistic. Pacifistic, is that a word?
We'll take it.
As the U.S. And so it's just a little bit concerning. This seems like something we should have reacted with a stronger voice to.
Walk softly, but carry a big stick. Where has that gone? Because I believe you can look professional and put your tie on and have your collared shirt, but you also need to be ready to kick ass and take names and protect the home front and protect the people that are here. And sometimes, and maybe I'm out of line to say this, but sometimes professionalism is not what I'm worried about. I'm worried about, do they get the message that we're not playing with you?
Yeah. There's a delicate balance there, but that response, really aired on the soft side versus, something that, might have been more moderate and delivered a more effective message. So we'll see where it goes from here.
Turns out that soldiers found almost 2 million fentanyl pills in Tijuana one day before Mexico's president claims fentanyl isn't made in the country. Okay, anyone with a brain cell knows that there's a lot of dope coming from Mexico. We know that. That's not a question. It's a fact. And so Mexico's Defense Department said on Tuesday that soldiers found it says 1.83 million pills in a stash house in a border city of Tijuana. And, the department said that in a statement that the soldiers staked out the house Sunday after the authorities received a tip that the site was being used for drug trafficking. So they got a warrant and they found all of those opioid pills. And in addition to that, there was 880 pounds of meth in the house. 880 pounds. So
that's a lot of meth.
That'll meth you up.
That'll meth you up.
That's
Definitely
a
meth
whole
you
lot
up,
of meth.
as Mike Tyson would say.
Right. And so, the cartels have always been in control. Sorry. The cartels have always been in control there. Their government is pretty much a sham. The government and the cartels are in bed with each other. Everybody knows that. And so the cartels have used the border city to press fentanyl into counterfeit pills, and then they're smuggling them right into the United States. And so, if you're not familiar with fentanyl, it was developed as a pain management treatment, and it's 100 times stronger than morphine.
Wow.
According to the DEA, right? And right now, we are in the throes in the United States of America. We are in the throes of a fentanyl overdose epidemic. Numbers ranging over 70,000 people in the past year.
That's insane. And look, even the drug Narcan, which is used to basically bring people back to life after they have an overdose, a drug overdose, is becoming in short supply because there's such an epidemic with fentanyl.
And you have to be hit with Narcan more than once. That's what I don't think people understand. The overdose is quick. Fentanyl is water soluble. I mean, just touching the powder, inhaling it, it'll kill you within minutes. And you get hit with Narcan 1, 2, 3 times.
Wow.
Well, and now some of these cartels are lacing the pills they're pressing with, I forget what it's called, but something that makes it Narcan proof. And so the Narcan will be ineffective on those kinds of pills. And if there was ever anything to indicate how clearly this is murder, I mean, this is with intent. This is China to Mexico. Once it gets in the hands of the cartels, it is just about money.
They don't care about people.
China knows that. And if you look at it from the point of origin, it's about killing young Americans. And that's exactly what it is doing, to the tune of 70,000 in the last 12 months. And, it's no wonder, we talked about last episode, the story of the 2 Americans that were killed in Matamoros, where the woman had gone for the tummy tuck surgery, and the fact that the Gulf cartel down there had called it a mistake, had surrendered the people responsible back to the Mexican government, and had their vice president of abductions and kidnappings write the apology letter. That just shows you how dependent they are on this drug trade and wanting to make sure they protect it at all costs, and how corrupt it is there, where the law enforcement in Mexico is not doing anything because
they have plato plomo, silver or lead. You either take our money and you shut up, or you take a bullet to the head. I mean, it's not
exactly. And
it's not a choice.
This is a huge problem that is becoming, I think it's a major campaign issue, and it's why we see maybe Washington sort of coming together a little bit to understand what a threat this is, and getting some bipartisan support for some reactions.
Absolutely. And if we really want to take it on, Border Patrol, everyone's like, well, what are they doing? Why, if they're not stopping it at the border, what are they doing? Well, if you know anything about how that works, for every one 18-wheeler they stop, 25 more are getting through. So what we really have to understand too, and I don't mean to go off on a tangent here, is our young people are at risk. Just because you're a drug addict doesn't mean you're not valuable and that you don't need recovery. And this is going to end up killing a whole lot of people. Oh, it already has, but it's going to end up killing a whole lot more.
Agreed.
Well, and I remember a day where Mexico had a lot of respect for the United States and a lot of appreciation for what the United States has provided to Mexico. To have the president come out and claim that his country is safer than the United States, a week after the kidnappings, to have him say that there's no problem in traveling safely through Mexico, when Mexico's nationwide homicide rate is 28 people per 100,000 inhabitants. That is 4 times the rate of homicide. In the United States, Mexico is not safer than the United States. And I don't know what that says, that you have the Mexican president making claims like that. I mean, I just can't see that ever happening in the past.
Well, it's smoke and mirrors, because that's documented when they, that they're documenting. You know how many people go missing in Mexico each year, and they know for a fact. I don't know if y'all know what a geisha is. You ever heard of a geisha? So these young people in Mexico, even from Mexico, not even Texas and real close. All these teenage females are going missing, and they're like, "Oh, we don't know what happened to them." No, we know exactly what happened. They were kidnapped by the cartel. They were sold into sex slavery and prostitution. Then when they're done with them, they put them in a barrel and they light them on fire, and they turn into a burnt crisp ball. It's called a geisha. That's what they do. The cartel is not a joke. The cartel cuts people's heads off and kills them.
Yeah.
The cartel comes and mows down Barry Seal, and in broad daylight in front of hundreds of people who, right there. This is smoke and mirrors. This is anyone who just believes everything that they read and everything that they hear, and they believe just because you're a government official, you're going to tell the truth. That's what that was said for and written for. The people with the brain that knows what's going on, and that we have a terrible problem in this country, and that border is an issue. Drug problem is out of control. It's coming across that border, and we need to attack it.
For sure.
100%. So we'll keep you posted on that, and any other comments.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need, so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in, and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glaze, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something, and all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We've got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love, because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes, plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/reallife. That's GOBBLE.com/real-life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had. Hey ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore, because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone support and supplement, it's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC.
Jim, we need a lighter story.
We do. And y'all, it's St. Patrick's Day today. And look, we at Real Life Real Crime Daily are no different than anybody else. We celebrate. We wear our green. We want to make sure we don't get pinched, right? So hopefully everybody out there listening has their green on today. We're going to give you two stories. We're going to give you a couple of St. Patrick's Day stories. One of them is straight from me. I have one that I want to share with y'all that I thought was pretty funny. So my kids, I have twin girls that this is their senior year of high school. And when they were younger, and when I say younger, they might have been in second grade. My wife, of course, you know, it's holidays and they could wear like free dress day for holidays. And St. Patrick's Day was kind of a free dress day and they could wear green. So my wife, getting in the spirit, she goes to the store and she gets some green t-shirts that were, you know, they had the Leprechaun on them and, or shamrocks or whatever. And she brought them home and that's what they were going to wear to school. So the next day we're all getting ready for everybody to go to school. She's about to let him in the car. And I looked over and I'm like, oh, those are cute shirts. And then I did a double take and I looked over again and I said, is that really say what I think it says? And my wife, innocently now, just grabbed it because she thought the shirt was cute, never read the wording. Oh, God. Had my second grade daughters in two t-shirts that said, shake your shamrocks.
Oh, Wendy. Oh, my God.
I almost fell out. And I said, do you see those shirts? She, oh, yeah, they're cute. I said, have you read them? It was, and if you knew my wife, it was totally innocent. And look, she goes in 900 different directions, this woman. And so she never took time to like read the shirt. She just thought the shamrock was cute. And yeah, shake your shamrocks.
Sometimes you just have to let your hair down and shake your shamrocks, Jim.
That's it. I said, they're not wearing green today, baby.
Jesus.
Oh, you pulled the shirts out?
I did. I told her, I said, they're changing
Negative
like
Ghost Rider.
right now. And another shirt because they're not wearing shake your sham. I mean, could you imagine had I not noticed that? Teacher would have been like,
But at second grade, you don't really have shamrocks to shake.
Well, you shake your seeds then, I guess.
That's not the point.
That's not the point. So I missed this totally.
It is the wording.
Okay.
I'm like, oh my gosh. So anyway, that was my share. I think of that every St. Patrick's Day because that was so funny. So we're going to go on to give you another story. And how about a man robbing a bank and he was dressed as a leprechaun? Now, back on St. Patrick's Day in 2010, First State Bank in Nashville was held up by a man presumably looking for his pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. Yes, this bank robber was dressed as a leprechaun. Police said the gun-toting leprechaun scored an undisclosed amount of money before leaving the bank, joined another suspect in the car outside, and the two fled. Cops spotted the vehicle, gave chase, and a wild gunfight broke out. Now, a police cruiser was hit by several bullets. It was disabled, and the two suspects crashed, ditched their car, and fled on foot into a field. One suspect was killed by police fire. The other took his own life as the cops closed in. The money was recovered from the abandoned vehicle, which had a large leprechaun hat in the back seat.
I'm sorry.
A seasonal robber, the man, had also held up a bank 3 days before Christmas wearing a Christmas Santa suit. Investigators in the Nashville suburb said information from the FBI linked David Christopher Cotton to the December robbery. So this guy, you know, he was in the spirit. He would have probably wore a Shake Your Shamrock shirt
Listen,
and
he
robbed
missed
a
his
bank.
calling. He should have been a kindergarten teacher. I mean, he likes to dress up in
That's it.
theme. He's
That's
got
right.
his outfit.
Yeah, he had his bunny costume ready for the Easter robbery.
Hop on in, bud.
That didn't get to take place.
I bet he
just,
did.
as a cop, you're chasing a guy in a leprechaun costume.
And I would be pissed if I got shot by a leprechaun. I'm going to throw it out there.
Yeah, that's not a way. You don't
That's
want
not
that.
the badge
you don't
I
want that
want.
in the news. No.
You don't
No.
want that in the jacket.
No. Jeez, Pete.
But I don't know.
Then I'd feel kind of
So,
bad for shooting a leprechaun.
I would have aimed low or something. I mean, but I think the leprechaun killed himself, though, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
The other
So-
one got killed, his getaway driver.
Yeah,
I
so,
guess.
So,
the leprechaun deciding to eat a bullet from his own gun is, I guess.
well, it was
guess
probably, gold colored. He got his gold. Yeah. That went
Looking
dark.
for my pot of gold. Well, anyway, happy
a lot
St.
of strange
Patrick's
stuff
Day,
happening around Nashville. That was back in 2010, but we've had some interesting Nashville stories this year.
I call it Nash Vegas.
Nash Vegas.
Those who have partied there before call that.
What
Well-
happens in the Nash stays in
That's
the
right.
Nash.
Well, this is a story not out of Nashville, but one of our other favorite geographies for the weird. This is the state of Florida.
Everything in Florida is weird. It
is-
happens there.
This is a good one. So let's call this story "Man Punches Pizza Guy." So when a Domino's pizza delivery man forgot to bring 346-pound Robert Wheeler the garlic knots that he had ordered along with his pizza, things didn't go so well for that delivery man. The Florida man has been charged with battery, according to a police report. Wheeler, the 346-pound guy who ordered the garlic knots, is 48 years old. He was arrested nearly 2 weeks ago following the skirmish that broke out outside a house in his hometown of Vero Beach. The delivery man's poor guy's 19 years old. 19-year-old Jonathan Fagan told investigators that the 346-pound Wheeler struck him below the left eye after he rolled down the window of his vehicle. Fagan, who had redness and swelling on the spot where he was punched, according to a police report, had initially declined medical attention. However, his mother later contacted the River County Sheriff's Office and said that she was taking him to an emergency room because he was complaining of headaches and nausea. So,
Very frustrating when you don't get all your food.
the garlic knots in particular.
Those are good.
Yeah, they're tasty. They're tasty.
I see no problem with this guy.
And if you're a 346-pound guy like Wheeler, now I took a little picture of Wheeler, so his headshot is here. Maybe we'll post that headshot.
It looks like
So
Santa.
he may have been a holiday Santa Claus. That very well could have been one of the jobs on his resume. But certainly from his the shape and size of his head, it looks like he was all of that 346 pounds. And when the customer's 346 pounds, you don't F with their garlic knots.
That should be the motto. We don't F with your knots.
Yeah, hopefully 19-year-old Jonathan Fagan has learned from this, and whoever was taking the orders there at that Domino's location has learned their lesson as well. Perhaps they should have everyone who places a takeout order leave their weight with them when they leave the order, so they can prioritize
Exactly.
those orders based
Like
upon
911.
based upon the size of the customer.
Well,
Because
and
you
I
could do
wanna-
that. You get away with that with a 180-pound person. You don't have to bring the garlic knots to them. You should, but if you missed it, you probably wouldn't get punched. But
Well, my question is
345-pound
this: did he get all of that poundage outside, walk to the car to punch him because he just rolled his window down?
Yeah.
So does that mean he chased him to the car and then punched him in the face?
He probably took the food, brought it in, and he was like, wait a minute, where are my
knots?
Where are my knots? And so he's like, I'm going to catch him before he leaves and run out there. And the guy probably nicely, yes, sir. And he was like, pop.
Well, look, when I was
I have
little,
another theory, though. I have another theory, which is when you're the 346-pound guy ordering the Domino's, when you see that little thing on the roof of the car, it's your only exercise. Is you go out there to greet that car,
Right.
to get your knots and your pizza. The guy rolls down the window to hand you the stuff. There's only the pizza there, and then you take the swipe. Because if you're running after him, chances are you're not going to catch him.
yes,
Yeah.
If you're
Well, when I was little, if I acted up, my mama got really mad at me. She'd say, "You get over here, kid. I'm gonna snatch a knot in your ass." I think that's what she meant.
I think so.
Snatch.
She would. It's a Southern thing. I will snatch a knot in your ass. Meaning I'm gonna put a bump on you if you don't get over here.
Right. I've been told that myself.
See,
Wendy tells me.
Really?
yeah, I tell my family that. I mean, shout out, ma'am. Yeah, but I will snatch a knot in your ass.
Mike has something to Google later.
You know, when you're hangry is all I can say. And I'll tell you what, I have one instance. I went to, it might have been McDonald's or something, and it was late at night. And
the ice cream machine was broken then.
Starving. And, you know, they had this deal where if you order food, sometimes they'll make you pull up and kind of wait for it. And I was hungry. And I'm like, all I did was order like one thing, and I've got to pull up and wait for it. So I did. And I waited and I waited. And after about 15 minutes of sitting here, I'm like, I think they forgot. And I was so hungry. Now I was hangry. Mm-hmm. So I get out of the car and I go in the thing and I'm like, where's my food? And I never do that. But it was like something came out. Where is my food? And the guy's like, belly. I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. I've been out there and I threw a blooming fit over like a quarter pounder.
You're that guy.
Oh, I was so hungry. And I never done that, but I was so hungry. So I kind of get it anyway.
Well, just add on to that.
Roll down your window.
I went to McDonald's and ordered me a chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
This is a true story.
Yeah. Got
on the interstate and like every good citizen, I'm eating while I'm driving. I opened my chicken sandwich. There was no chicken on it. What did you had one job.
You ordered a bun.
You had one job.
One job. Chicken guy. Where's the chicken guy?
Could have been an invisible chicken sandwich.
Maybe it was a weight loss. Maybe they didn't want me to be 346 pounds.
Yeah.
And they were helping me out. You know what? I take that back. Thank you.
No, I think that's pilot error.
That's $15 an hour wage right there.
Yeah. Well, since we're telling fast food stories, I'll tell a quick one. I was in Dallas on a business trip to a trade show event, and a bunch of us were out way too late and had way too much to drink, but never really had dinner, and so we pulled into a Whataburger drive-through. I think there were 6 of us in the car, and we ordered either 36 or 48, something that's divisible by 6, taquitos. Oh. They're not big.
You might
Whataburger taquitos. Yeah. So we left the drive-through, turned around, and parked in a spot and began woofing these things down. And everybody sort of hit a wall after like 4 or 5 of the taquitos, right? So I look down, everybody's done eating, and we've got like 2 bags left over of these things. So we had 18 or 24 taquitos left over. So I went back around to the drive-through, and the guy comes on, welcome to Whataburger. Can I help you, please? And I said, yeah, I'd like to return some taquitos. And the guy goes, what? I said, no, I'd like to return some taquitos. And he said, well, what's wrong with them? I said, well, nothing's wrong with them. We weren't as hungry as we thought we were. We ordered too many, and so we want to return these. We can't eat them. And he says, you can't return taquitos. And I said, well, what are you talking about? I have the receipt right here. So he's getting really, really frustrated and says, pull up. So I pull up. And everybody in the car is cracking up, and I have the receipt right there. And I said, look, here's the receipt. Sorry, we ordered too many, and we'd like to return these. And he said, well, that's against our policy. You can't return food. And I said, where is that written? I said, tell me where. Is that on my receipt? Is that over on the the menu over there? Does it say anything about not being able to return? And so at this point, and this is like some 17-year-old with a big face of acne who's like, I can't. What do I do? I don't. So he goes for the manager. So the manager comes over, and I repeat my story with the manager, and the manager's dumbfounded by the whole thing as well. And so finally they have like no other recourse. They got 6 guys just abusing them about taking the return on the taquitos. So we returned. I don't know how many it was.
That's epic. I
It's
bet your
like
picture
18
is also hung in the back.
I'm most wanted at
wouldn't go-
Whataburger.
No
Ever
taquitos
go
for
back
this
to that
fella.
restaurant
I don't think
again.
I've been to Whataburger since.
Yeah, I
I
wouldn't go
apologize to the audience for that Whataburger
Yeah.
break.
Oh, good Lord. We're going to have to move it on over to Ohio right now because this story, y'all, I take this story personal. I have to tell you about this. But first, I'll tell you what happened. An Ohio police officer had to shoot and kill a zebra that bit its owner. Now, I would like you to know, I know you can't see me right now, but I'm actually wearing a shirt with zebras on
Her
it.
St.
So
Patty's Day green zebra
The,
shirt.
the zebras are actually green.
this was meant
green and
to
white
be.
zebras.
Now, listen. Authorities in Ohio say a man almost lost his arm when he was attacked by a pet zebra over the weekend. So the Pickaway County Sheriff's Office responded to the home in Circleville on Sunday after a man called in saying, quote unquote, his arm had been bitten off by a zebra. Now, he said, I think he tore my arm off. And the victim, poor fella, this is 72-year-old Ronald Clifton, and he was found lying on the ground, and he was hemorrhaging below his right elbow when the officers arrived at the scene. And so when they got there, the zebra started, flexing, right? He's going to act out. And they said he was being very aggressive when they tried to deal with him. And so they eventually had to shoot and kill him. The victim is not expected to lose his arm based on the reports. And the zebra repeatedly kept approaching the first responders and Clifton's family as the victim received treatment at the scene. So officers did all they could do to try to scare him away using air horns and sirens. They tried to use their vehicles. But the quote unquote hostile zebra kept charging at his patrol vehicle. And so one deputy claimed that the zebra was protective of about 5 or 6 female zebras that were in the field. And it turns out that the police sergeant that day on duty had to eventually kill him, the zebra, after it kept approaching them. And the family did give permission for them to kill him. It wasn't like they were, animal abusing out there. And so the officer said, I had to make a decision, so I put a slug right between its eyes. Now, let me tell you something. This story is personal to me. I want to warn all of our listeners, you watch out for a zebra. Because I want you to envision, I am 9 months pregnant. I'm a big old girl. I'm a whole snack, okay, of a whale of a woman. And y'all know Global Wildlife Center?
Yes.
Okay. So just so you know, there's a center out towards like Scott, Kankton area, and it's like a animal wildlife place, and you can get on this train and it rides through, and you can feed the animals and watch them, and it's really a lot of fun. You ought to go do it.
They got some exotics out there.
They have exotics out there. Yeah. Okay, well, it was my baby's birthday. I'm pregnant with one, and it's my other child's birthday, so I paid for what's called a PINS tour, and that's where they put you on these little, they look like safari jeeps, and they'll actually drive you up to the animals instead of just going on the train. So I get my big old butt up in that thing, and I'm ready to go have a good time with my baby. I'm taking pictures. So we get out there, and the zebras come up, and this big old longhorn cow thing, and all these other little, and I'm just having the time of my life, and I'm snapping pictures. And y'all, I lean forward, my baby's and my child's in front of me, and I'm taking a picture, and next thing I know, every ounce of back fat between my shoulder blades was in the jaws of a zebra. That sucker walked right up behind me, snuck me, and went and grabbed my meat.
My God. Wait, so you were allowed to get out of the Jeep?
No,
and
I didn't get out the Jeep. He came in the Jeep.
He
put his head, because it's open, there's no windows. He reached in and just I hadn't even said a foul word at him. I didn't even know he was there. And he grabbed my back fat and he bit down. I have never in the history of ever felt such trauma.
Did he break skin? Did he penetrate and cut you?
No. So my pressure, I'm screaming and I'm literally going, ah, ah, and everyone thinks I'm just being dramatic, but they don't realize he's latched onto me. So then my husband was like, oh, and like punched the zebra. Zebra lets go. And
He punches zebra.
Listen, he's a hero. Whatever happened, that zebra removed itself from my back fat. Y'all, teeth marks from a zebra.
So I guess zebras are territorial, I guess?
They're nippy.
Yeah.
And he took issue with the shirt I had on, so he bit me. So I can attest. So you know what, Mr. 72-year-old Ronald Clifton, you're a G for surviving the zebra bite. I still have nightmares.
Well, it sounds like this particular zebra had a pretty nice life. He had these 5 female zebras that were, hey,
look,
his stable.
Typical unappreciative zebra, living a good life, being taken care of. taken care of.
Who the hell has zebras as pets?
Well,
when did that become a thing?
Zebras are allowed as pets in Ohio because the state does not list them as wild or dangerous animals.
And are they like? Can you have a zebra in Louisiana?
I don't think so. I think you have to have a permit. Because like we can't have we're not supposed to have like monkeys either. I think
I think you're right.
Like you have to have a special permit for those. But I just want you to know, if you ever see me out and I run up to a zebra and punch it, it's from past trauma.
Yeah, no, I would understand in that case, given. But this is a lot of new information about zebras here. I was not familiar with the territorial nature of the beast. You know, it makes you sort of wonder. This Ronald Clifton, I don't know how many years he had these zebras as pets, but obviously that lead male zebra did not appreciate him, or not appreciate him enough to go and bite him like that. Maybe.
Sounds like my teenager at home. She doesn't appreciate anything.
Well, maybe he thought Ronald had an interest in one of his 5 female zebras.
That's another story.
So, that was, you're not getting near my ladies.
Nope.
Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts to spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdown scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday hosts and hostess gift to the coolest finds for kids, to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary.
So he took a bullet.
He took a bullet.
R.I.P. Zebra.
So a Kansas man who has robbed a bank told police he was hoping to get caught so he would get prison time to escape his wife. He got sentenced Tuesday to 6 months of home confinement.
Oh, swing and a miss.
Well played.
Yeah, the judge on that case knew just what he was doing.
Yes,
so
indeed.
I got to tell y'all this story. Lawrence John Ripple took the guilty plea. He told the judge Tuesday that he had heart surgery, left him depressed when he committed a bank robbery. His public defender told the court that Ripple had lived a law-abiding life and was in a stable relationship with his wife. He had 4 stepchildren. Ripple handed a note to the bank teller at a Kansas City bank. Basically, the note demanded cash and warned he had a gun. Ripple took the money, which was $2,900. He went to sit in the lobby, and he told the guard, "I'm the guy you're looking for." Officers arrived, and an FBI agent wrote in the affidavit that Ripple had earlier been arguing with his wife. Now, he told the FBI agent that he wrote a note in front of his wife saying, "I'd rather be in jail than to be here with you." True story. So the
Man
dude
of his
leaves,
word.
robs a bank, sits in the lobby, and says, "I'm going to prove to her I'd rather be in jail." Well, The judge had the last laugh because he said, you know what? You're sentenced to 6 months home confinement. So now he has to stay in the house with his wife. Yep. The things we do.
Listen, I'm going to have to take notes on this because, I know that there's a problem with men because y'all cannot. It's like physically impossible for y'all to put laundry in laundry baskets. Y'all can't do it. I'm going to go next time anybody misses a laundry basket in my house, bank robbery.
That's it.
It's
well,
solved.
but here's the thing. Even if you do that, see, I think what would have been the right thing to do here is to have the wife involved be called into court and have the court decide whether they all would have gone and robbed a bank if they had to live with
this should have been on the people's court.
Yeah.
This needed to be on Judge Million or Judge Judy.
Because she could have been.
This is the defendant.
She could have been so awful that they all would have sided with him and been like, "Yeah, you're right. You needed to."
She may have caused this,
but
I don't think she did, gentlemen. I think this is the man's fault.
I think so. I think in this case, he took it a little bit too far. All
he had to do was empty the dishwasher. I'm telling you, empty the dishwasher and take the trash out, bro.
Gosh. What kind of lady could
what
she
is
have been?
happening?
He must have been living in total hell. He's like, I'm going to rob a bank. I've had enough.
He should. No, you know what he should have done? He should have left and went and got with their daddy and lived with their daddy. He was the stepdad. I'd rather be with him than you.
Some people just shouldn't be together. Divorce, separation. I mean, those might have been options. I don't know.
Hell, go to the bar and have a drink. Eat a moon pie.
Lawrence Ripple.
He didn't want to share his retirement, I guess. It's just like, if I'm in jail, I ain't got to split it with you. We wish him luck in his 6 months of home confinement.
Good luck, Larry.
Yes.
Oh, my God. So on to more serious matters. 7 Virginia sheriff's deputies were arrested in connection with an inmate's death. These 7 deputies have been arrested and charged with second-degree murder in connection with the death of Ervo Atinio while he was in custody. This is a weird, I don't know where this is in Virginia. The Henrico County Sheriff's deputies, Henrico County, never heard of that one, turned themselves in to the Virginia State Police Bureau on the morning of Tuesday, March 14th, just a couple of days ago. All 7 deputies have been placed on administrative leave during the murder investigation and are being held without bond. The deputies were identified as Randy Joseph Boyer, 57, Dwayne Allen Bramble, 37, Jermaine LeVar Branch, 45, Bradley Thomas Deasy, 43, Tabitha Renee Levere, 50, Brandon Edwards Rogers, 48, and Cavell DeJour Sanders, 30. Atieno, 28, was being transported to Central State Hospital in Dinwiddie County, Virginia, for treatment when he became combative, according to a spokesperson for the Virginia State Police. Central State is a maximum security psychiatric facility run by the state. Jail records show that Atieno was placed under supervised custody and assigned to a medical or hospital treatment center. The circumstances surrounding his transport to the hospital and death aren't really clear. The investigation is ongoing. He was arrested originally on March 3rd. The Henrico police spokesperson, a guy by the name of Matt Pekka, who's a lieutenant, took Atieno to an area hospital for further evaluation, where Atieno became physically assaultive toward the officers. He was arrested on charges of assaulting law enforcement, disorderly conduct, vandalism, and taken to jail. His mother told the Richmond Times-Dispatch last week that her son had suffered from periodic bouts of mental illness beginning in his late teens, but said that he did not have a record of violence. She also said that while he had been brought to the jail during the weekend, he wouldn't be provided medication to control his mental health issues until he saw a jail doctor on Monday. So right when he was arrested, he had to go through a couple of day period of not getting his meds. When Atieno was scheduled to see the jail doctor that Monday, he was taken to the hospital where the police said he was restrained and later died. So this is while he was in transport to go to see the doctor to get these meds. The state medical examiner is trying to determine the cause and manner of death. In In 2021, there were 77 in-custody deaths reported in the state. That seems like an awful lot.
Yeah, but let me tell you, if you don't mind, can I jump in real quick? So I take issue with a couple of things that are not mentioned here in this article, because when you read this off the top, it looks horrible, right? It looks like 7 or 8 officers jumped one guy and killed him, and that's what the narrative usually is on TV. But having worked in corrections, if you don't know that about me, there is a disconnect. A huge disconnect between how we're dealing with people who are criminal and psychiatric patients. And, police are not therapists, psychotherapists or psychologists or anything like that. And so what happens is they're not mentioning also in here that statistically, transporting of inmates is one of the most dangerous of correctional jobs that there are. And there's stats on that to show you how dangerous transport is, because we're not in a very controlled environment. But number 2, if he was not on his meds, then to say he doesn't have a history of violence, maybe that's true, but maybe when medicated. So my argument here, again, he's dead, and my heart goes out to his family, and I'm not in any way trying to victim blame here. I'm just trying to look at this at totality of circumstance. And anybody who is not under their psychotropic meds that may keep them in line has the ability to get out of line very quickly. And the training that we receive in law enforcement and in correctional restraint doesn't 100% necessarily take into account what medical problems the person is having. So if he had high blood pressure, or we have a thing called excited delirium that people can experience, which is deadly, but it's a natural occurring response. And so I'm not defending right here. I don't have enough information for that, but I feel like they just didn't quite give us quite enough here to say, did they beat him to death? Did they choke him out? Or did he die, but everything they did was completely by the book?
Right.
Is that a fair
I
thing?
think it is. And look, people, a lot of people don't realize that anytime you're in a stress situation, your heart rate will rise extremely fast. Within a couple of seconds, your heart rate can literally go from, say, 60 beats per minute to over 250 beats per minute. When that occurs, and that's how you hear stories. You hear stories sometimes of someone, lifting a car in a car accident over there, to get their kid out, or ripping the car door off, and it's a 115-pound female. And how the heck is that possible? Well, that's how you get such a shot of adrenaline so fast in a situation like that. Your heart rises so fast that you're able to do these things that don't make sense. It can also kill you. Yeah. So in a situation where there's any sort of incident, and I don't know if that's what happened here, but it could have been a situation where his heart rate just raised to the point, just from the sheer stress of what's going on, that he had a heart attack.
Well, and also other things that can, and again, not victim blaming. I promise you I'm not. I have a heart for people, and I hope he didn't suffer, and I hope that this was, not what it kind of looks like in the way it's presented. But also in jails, they have access to drugs. That's a joke to say that there aren't drugs in jail. And something with that excited delirium, let's just say he did get a hold of something, which he may not have. I may be completely wrong, but we don't have enough here. Then that can also cause the body with that excited delirium to go hypothermic. Your blood pressure, your body heats up and everything, and it will kill you so fast that I think they should have given a little bit more information here.
This just happened, but I think you see a lot of these stories, and years ago, people like this would have just been locked up in a psychiatric facility,
right.
And for whatever reason, what's happened with the system, more and more of these people with these conditions are out there. They do refer to an expert from something called the Justice Involved Populations for Community-Oriented Correctional Health Services. Talk about a bunch of a long title. But this guy says, his name is Daniel Mistak, that jails don't have the resources or training to manage mental health crises for many people going through the booking system. If someone is at the beginning of a mental health crisis, being booked into jail is the perfect way to accelerate the crisis. And so maybe that's that's true. And we've got this great disconnect because we're no longer locking these people up. They are out there, and law enforcement is not necessarily trained to handle these kinds of situations.
Right. And it doesn't mean you're not compassionate. It doesn't mean that you're not wanting the best for people. It just, and I've worked the road too. I don't know if the listeners know that, and I am a commissioned deputy, and your heart goes out to people who are in the throes of a mental situation. However, safety matters. And, we've had mental health people before in good people who something has happened in life and triggers them, like the guy who just robbed a bank because his wife pissed him off. They do crazy things and they'll point a gun at you. That did not happen here, obviously, but we're not.
Well, we don't know. We don't know what happened. Well, we know we
yeah, right. But, it's kind of like you have to look at it from both sides. You want to survive at the end of the day, but you also understand someone's in the throes of a mental breakdown. And it's a very complicated line. Humanity's hard. I don't know how to explain that.
Well, and hopefully these officers will get a fair process here, and
the truth
will come out, and maybe they'll find that there's no wrongdoing here, and
right? Or maybe they're
they
dead wrong. So we'll see, right?
Yes, we will see.
All right. Well, hey, y'all want to take it on to a happy story?
Yeah.
With a happy ending?
Is a zebra involved?
No, it's a dog though.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay, I'm a dog lover, so I really love this story. So this is out of Texas. A police officer in Texas runs outside in the middle of a tornado to rescue his K-9 partner.
Awesome.
I'm telling you, that gives you the good feels. All right, so we're going to call this our Super Cop today, and this is just a really cool story out of Deer Park, Texas. And so, they say dogs are man's best friend, right? But this officer proved it. So he ran outside in the middle of a tornado to get his dog out of his car. His name is Officer Joel Nitchman, and he's with the Deer Park Police Department. And he says, basically that his K-9 partner, Roni, was in his kennel in the squad car when he realized that the tornado was coming. And he said, quote, "I'll never forget the noise. That's when I knew this was a big tornado." The winds had started picking up, and this was on January 24th, right after they had just returned from a training. So the officer said, "The thought of debris or that car flipping over, I just couldn't. I couldn't do that to him. I couldn't have him out there during that. He put himself in harm's way for me before." And that's true, right? He gives his life for you, or would be willing to. Nitchman said the debris was hitting his face and that he struggled to get the door to the squad car open during the high winds. He said, "I could barely open his door. When I did, he's a smart dog. He saw what was going on outside and he was like, I'm not coming out." So the dog didn't want to come out. And at one point, the visibility is down to 0. And I know that because there's a video, if y'all want to go look it up, there's a video of him actually rescuing the dog, and you see the tornado coming through while he's trying to get his dog out.
Matter of fact, we're going to link that video to the description.
Yeah, it's crazy.
In the show notes.
He said, "I'm like coaxing him. Come on, buddy, let's go," said Nitchman. "I love that dog. He's my hip attachment almost every day of the week. He's a part of our family. You can't leave a loved one like that. There's no way I was going to leave him like that." And he didn't, y'all. So Deer Park, by the way, it's a city located just west of Houston. And, that's a feel-good story, but also if you want to get real boring with it real quick, he saved the taxpayers a lot of money too, because those dogs are not cheap.
No kidding.
No.
Tell me about that, because you have a lot of experience.
Yeah,
with K-9s.
and so with K-9, now I'm speaking in our area right now. This is not necessarily the national average, but we use Belgian Malinois. That's the dogs that we use, and you've seen videos. They can run and jump, and they are crazy. Hyper and awesome dogs for a multitude of uses. But these dogs cost like $20,000+.
Really?
These dogs. And the reason is because now, if someone right now is listening going, "No, it depends on where you are and where you get your dogs." But our dogs out here in Livingston Parish, where we are trained by a company called US K-9, right? And they do tons of training. The dogs come from, like Belgium, and they speak Dutch, and their commands are in Dutch.
The dogs speak Dutch?
The dogs do speak Dutch.
Yes, the dogs actually speak fluent Dutch.
But you mean, so the 20,000 is the all-in
Overall.
expense to
Absolutely.
deliver a dog that is ready to go to work.
Absolutely. And so you don't want to put money to a dog. You love your dogs, but he did a solid for everybody involved there, because it's a lot of training involved. And, K-9s are so important in policing because they, can search not only for people by scent, but they also can do articles. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of that, but those dogs can find credit cards. They can find cell phones. Yes, they can. People don't know that. They can find. Now it's a scent based thing, obviously, but they can find knives, guns. At Angola, the dogs out there can smell the lithium, can get the lithium in the cell phone battery. So that's how they can find cell phones.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. So these dogs are top notch.
Well, and I'll tell you, indeed they are. And we just talked about a case with Nathan Millard that is obviously still booming and going on. In that case, what amazed me was they were able to take a canine, and even though the man of interest that they have now arrested had burned his car, that canine, burned it, set it on fire, right? Whole thing burned up. That canine was still able to, react to a scent that a body had been in the trunk.
100%. So let me tell you about these dogs, how cool this is. So K-9s, police K-9s, okay, when we walk into McDonald's and you smell food, you say, "Ooh, I smell chicken nuggets. I smell a burger, I smell steak," or whatever, wherever you are, you smell some type of food.
Right.
When a canine comes in, a dog goes, "Ooh, I smell bread and lettuce and cheese and tomatoes and meat and mayo." The dog nose is so specific, it can break down and smell the
ingredients.
Item. Yes.
Yeah.
So most of our canines, and I'm not necessarily saying these are the Malinois, but these dogs, they can smell, that they can get, cocaine, and they can sniff cocaine. Hey, did y'all see,
cocaine?
Real quick, sideways note. Have y'all watched Corky Romano?
No.
Oh my God. For the love of God, do this for our listeners, or your listeners. Woody, I'm taking Woody's spot. Please, I'm going to send you a link to the movie Corky Romano. It's a hilarious movie, and Chris Kattan is in it, and he's got cocaine and the police dog, and it's funny. I'm going to send you a link. Y'all, it's a teaser. You have to go watch
I thought you were going down the cocaine bear route, which I haven't seen yet, but I do remember my boys making me watch Corky Romano at some point.
Oh my God.
But I don't remember the dog part. But let me ask you something from Jim's story.
Yeah.
So the dog picks up the cadaver scent in the trunk of the car that's been burned. That's admissible?
I believe so, because it's, okay, I'm not an expert on this, but I believe so because it's a step towards probable cause. If you can smell, if you can smell the scent, they smell the decay, and then they have a signal that they have to do, and that's called J&D. Okay, so I didn't realize I knew so much about these dogs. All right, so J&D is called just noticeable difference, and so whenever they're training these dogs, J&D is what the handler is looking for. So whenever people are like, "Oh, they can just make the dog do whatever they want," no, the dog has certain. Some of them will sit, some of them will scratch, some of them, their body language changes, and anyone who's worked with that dog as their handler for enough time will know it. It's like your dog, you would know, your dog, he wouldn't do that, or he would do that, or he's not acting right. It's the same thing. And so when they have to be able to articulate in the report the J&D, the just noticeable difference, but then when they can, and then it leads up to, yes, there was the scent. That's what they were trained on. They give all of their trainings and certificates and all of their, they have to be recertified and everything. So
basically the dog can give testimony.
Yes.
Not speaking Dutch, just give testimony.
Right. So long as he's certified and he's accepted in the community as he's under those stipulations.
That's really interesting.
Love that story.
Pretty cool.
Good.
So y'all, save your pets. There's a guy in Florida. We said weird stuff happens in Florida too. There's an old man, and he's standing in a pond. He's smoking a cigar, and his little frou-frou white fluffy dog goes out in the pond. An alligator.
I've seen that one.
And he punches the alligator.
I've seen that one,
You get it, Pawpaw.
That's great. I mean, he actually goes underwater.
For real?
And yanks it out of...
Save your dogs, guys.
Out of the gator's mouth. I wish
punch a zebra. Save your dog.
A lot of weird animal stuff today.
All right, guys, that was a fun show. Thanks, Kelly, for coming by and look, totally short notice, y'all. We reached out to her yesterday late in the evening, and she was kind enough to come. And
I'm just honored to come. Honestly, I think this is great. I love your show, and we listen. My husband is a huge fan, so to get to be on it is even better.
Yes, and look, we want to mention for all of y'all out there that may not be familiar, Kelly has her own podcast. It is absolutely killing it right now. Unspeakable, a true crime podcast by Kelly Jennings. And you talk about unspeakable topics from all over the country.
It's all about true crime, and it's from a Southern woman's point of view, I guess, and not for the faint of heart. So if you're easily offended, I'm not your girl.
That's
but
right.
Unspeakable True Crime Podcast by Kelly Jennings. It's on all major platforms. And if you're looking at it, make sure you're getting the little picture that's got, it looks like a police car light and a woman with a finger over her mouth going, shh.
Yeah, and we're going to make it easy. We're going to link that in the show notes.
Okay, awesome.
Let's do that. Kelly, you are awesome, and thank you very much for doing this. We really appreciate it.
No problem. I'd love to come back sometime if you'll have me.
Absolutely.
Remember that, folks. Unspeakable, a true crime podcast by Kelly Jennings, can be found on any audio network, and she has a Patreon you can also subscribe to. It's pretty cool. So thanks again for coming by.
Thanks,
No problem.
Kelly.
Thanks.
Until next time, I'm Jim Chapman.
I'm Mike Agavino.
I'm Kelly Jennings, standing in for Woody Man-Cold Overton.
And for real life, real crime daily, peace.
Show business.